Easy Dreamers, welcome back to another video with me, Tom, the Chief Dreamer. I'm here to teach you fresh, modern British English so that you can take your English to the next level and achieve your life goals. Now, I've got a really fun one today because we're looking at the 10 common mistakes that native English speakers make. That's right, guys. We make mistakes all the time, and so I thought it'd be really useful for you guys to see what kind of mistakes they make and how to correct them so that next time you don't make those mistakes either. Alright, this is going to be a fun one. All that's coming right up. The first common mistake that native English speakers make is with this one, your and your. Now the pronunciation is the same, but it's when it's written that the mistakes happen. So we'll take the first one, your, without the apostrophe. Now this is the possessive adjective. For example, is this your coat? Is this your coat? So there it's the possessive, not my coat, your coat. So a possessive adjective has no apostrophe. But when we put the apostrophe in, that's a contraction of you are. So you are tall, or you're a great person. So the pronunciation of your and your is exactly the same, but the meaning is very different. Now words that sound the same are called homonyms. Homonyms. Like your and your, for example. These are two homonyms. So this is the cause of many of the mistakes for native English speakers, is that they sound the same. When it comes to the written version, there's a difference, and people don't always remember, or they don't know that there's a difference. So we'll probably come across quite a few homonyms as we go through this video. Okay, so related to that is a classic example, it's. Now one is without the apostrophe and one is with the apostrophe. The pronunciation is exactly the same, but again, when it's written, that's when the problems occur. So without the apostrophe, it's a possessive adjective again. It's a determiner. So it's the possessive of it. For example, the house has its own swimming pool. The house has its own swimming pool. The it's there is possessive, relating to the house. But with the apostrophe, it's a contraction, again, of it is or it has. For example, it's been a wonderful day, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful day, thank you so much. There, it's a contraction of it has. Okay, it's your turn now. Okay, it's your turn now. That's the contraction of it is. It is. It's your turn now. Okay, so with the apostrophe, it's a contraction of it is or it has. Without the apostrophe, it's the possessive determiner of it. Alright, this is the big one. This is the one that I hear people get wrong so often. Even when you're walking around London and you're kind of listening to people talking, I hear it used incorrectly so often. And maybe occasionally I might also make that mistake. But hey, it's all part of being a speaker, isn't it? Sometimes you do make mistakes. Now the words here, less and fewer. Less and fewer. Now I'm sure a lot of you right now are screaming at the video, oh, I know how to use fewer and less. But so often you English learners know the English grammar way better than most native English speakers. So you know exactly how to use fewer and less. And yet we still sometimes make mistakes. So let's look at the rules about how to use less and fewer, and then we'll look at some practice examples. Alright, so the important thing here is to think about, is the noun countable or uncountable? So with less, we're using uncountable nouns, things that you cannot count. For example, time. Time as an idea, we cannot count. Money, again, as an idea, we can't count. I know we can literally count money, but as a concept, we don't count it. So for example, these days I feel like I have less time to relax. These days I feel like I have less time to relax. Now with fewer, we're using that with countable nouns. So things you can count. Okay, so dogs or cats or houses or shoes. We use fewer with all those countable nouns. Now the complication comes when there's a word that could be either countable or uncountable. Let's take coffee, for example. Now coffee as a mass noun, as a concept, is uncountable. I don't drink that much coffee. I don't drink that much coffee. So we're going to use less with coffee because it's uncountable. So I'm trying to drink less coffee. I'm trying to drink less coffee. However, we can make coffee countable by thinking about the drink itself, like a drink. So I had a coffee this morning. I had a coffee this morning. Now, a coffee, it's countable. I had 2 coffees this morning. I had 2 coffees this morning. So now it's become countable, we can use fewer. I had fewer coffees than you today. I had fewer coffees than you today. We can also make it countable with a cup of coffee. So there we're making it countable by adding a cup of coffee. And then you can count it. I had 2 cups of coffee, 3 cups of coffee. So again, now we're using fewer because it's countable. So I'm trying to drink fewer cups of coffee every day. I'm trying to drink fewer cups of coffee every day. Same could be with beer. Okay, so beer or wine, any drink pretty much. So I'm drinking fewer pints of beer than I used to. I'm drinking fewer pints of beer than I used to. But we can make it uncountable by thinking about the mass noun, beer. I drink less beer than I used to. I drink less beer than I used to. So think about the noun. Is it countable? Is it uncountable? And then you decide fewer or less. It's not too tricky. It takes practice. That's the important thing. This one is a classic one that a lot of people mistake in written English. And that's the contractions of IE and EG. Now we're going to need quite an intellectual professor to talk us through what they mean. Hello everybody, I'm Professor Tom and I'll be teaching you IE and EG. IE comes from the Latin, which means id est. Repeat after me. Id est. 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 IE essentially means in other words. An example sentence, I'll be away all summer, i.e. June to August. In other words, June to August. You at the back, listen. Sorry. EG stands for exempli gratia. Exempli gratia. Repeat after me. Exempli gratia. Exempli gratia? Exempli gratia. Pay attention, boy. Exempli gratia. You're not listening. Exempli gratia. EG basically means for example. For example, I have visited many countries in Asia, e.g. Japan, Thailand, and Vietnam. Please remember that this is in written English. IE and EG are written English. If you want to say them in spoken English, you would say IE and for example. Class dismissed. This one causes huge problems, even for me. I'm going to be honest with you, I get this one wrong. So let's look at the differences. Who and whom. Who and whom. Now, the key concept here is that who is used as the subject of the sentence and whom is used as the object of the verb or the preposition. For example, who wants some cake? Who wants some cake? Who there is the subject, okay? So we're going to use who. Whereas with whom, we're going to use it as the object of the verb or the preposition. So, an example, whom do you believe? Whom do you believe? You is the subject, believe is the verb, and whom is the object of that verb. Now this sounds quite formal, and if I'm honest, whom has become a word that we generally use in writing, and particularly formal writing. Although people do use it in spoken English and generally quite formal spoken English, it's probably used more in written English and again particularly formal written English. Probably the most common way of using whom is in set phrases. To whom it may concern. So to whom it may concern is a really nice way to address a letter or an email to someone, but you're not sure who it's addressed to. So you say, to whom it may concern, and then the rest of your writing. All right, is it me and you or you and I? All right, this causes so many problems for native English speakers. And in fact, these days, I don't know if anyone cares about whether it's me and you or you and I, but we should know the grammar rules here. First of all, these are all pronouns, okay? So you, me, I, all pronouns. Now, I and you are subject pronouns. In the sentence, I love you. I love you. I is the subject, love is the verb, you is the object. I love you. Now, I cannot say me love you. Me love you. That's not correct English. Me is an object pronoun. I subject pronoun, me object pronoun. So I can't say me love you, I have to say I love you. Now you can be a subject pronoun or an object pronoun. Okay, so you love me. You love me. You is the subject, love is the verb, me is the object pronoun. You love me. So the correct way to describe two people together is you and I. You, like together, us two. You is the subject pronoun and I is the subject pronoun. You and I have known each other for a long time. You and I have known each other for a long time. That's the two of us together, two, you and I. So that's correct. Whereas me and you, well, me is an object pronoun, but we want a subject pronoun in this sentence. Me and you have known each other for years. Me and you have known each other for years. Me and you, that's the subject. Those are the subjects of the sentence. And me is an object pronoun, so we can't use it there. So it has to be, you and I have known each other for years. So when you're making that choice about is it me and you or you and I, choose you and I. However, in normal, common, everyday, natural English, particularly spoken English, you're going to hear people say me and you. I say me and you. Everyone I know says me and you, but it's grammatically not correct. So it's important for you guys to know the grammatically correct version, but it's your English. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can decide which one you want. If you're studying for the IELTS exam or you're in a business situation, you probably are going to want to use the correct grammatical form. So you and I. Okay, I hope that kind of clears that one up for you. You and I is grammatically the correct form. This is a little silly one that is usually in spoken English. How's things? How's things? Oh, how's things? How's things going? How's things? Now, how's, the contraction there is how is things? How is things? Well, things is plural. Things. So we need to use the plural auxiliary. How are things? So how are things? How are things? I do this all the time. I'll be like, oh, how's things? It's just a silly grammatical mistake that a lot of native speakers make. Doesn't affect communication. So people still understand exactly what you're saying. It's just something that a silly mistake that we make. How are things? It should really be, how are things? This is a problem particularly in written English. The word affect. Affect. Now, more or less, the pronunciation is the same. I mean, more or less. Affect. Affect, affect. Ultimately, I say them pretty much the same. Now, one is a verb, one is a noun. Affect with an A is a verb. Oh, the pollution really affects me. The pollution really affects me. Now, it's a verb there, okay? So, affects me. The pollution really affects me. Now, if it's a noun, we use E, affect. Okay, like, oh, I love the special effects in that film. I love the special effects in that film. So there it's used as a noun. So that's all you need to think about. Is it a verb? Is it a noun? And therefore, I'm going to use the A, affect, for verb, and A, affect, for the noun. We've got three homonyms here. There, and there. Right, the first there, T-H-E-R-E. It's an adverb and it's used for positions usually. For example, look over there. Look over there. I'm directing you to look into a certain place or position. We also use it to describe a position or an existence of something. For example, there's a great restaurant down the road. There's a great restaurant down the road. And that usually combines with there is or there are. There is a great restaurant down the road. So we use there for positions, telling us where something is or the existence of it, things like that. So that's the first there. Second there is the possessive adjective, T-H-E-I-R. I've got their phone number if you want it. I've got their phone number if you want it. So there is representing of the possessive. It's whose phone number? It's their phone number. Maybe a family that you're talking about. So I've got their phone number if you want it. Another example, I love their new house. I love their new house. Again, it's a possessive adjective there, talking about the people's house. Okay, and the final homonym is T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. It's a contraction of they are, but the pronunciation would be there, just like the other two. They're a really fun family. They're a really fun family. They are a really fun family. They're a really fun family. They're a really cute couple. They're a really cute couple. They're a really cute couple. Again, they are a really cute couple. Okay? There. The final mistake is usually a spelling mistake. Could of. Now this should be could have. And it comes from the fact that the pronunciation, when we say it, it's contracted and it's squeezed together. The sounds are squeezed together, so it sounds like could of. You could have got me a bigger ice cream. Oh, you could have got me a bigger ice cream. Now, could have. It's contracted down, so instead of saying you could have got me, you could have. And I guess when people hear that, and they say it so often, they make the mistake in thinking that it's could of, not could have. And that's where the mistake comes from. And you see it a lot in written English, particularly in formal written English. It's wrong, okay? It should be could have. And just the same with should have or must have. Again, you'll see sometimes it's written as should of or must of. Not correct. Should have, must have. So guys, which ones of those mistakes have you made before? And which ones do you find difficult? So maybe the there, and there, you get confused sometimes when you're writing. So let me know in the comments below, which ones do you find difficult? Which ones have you made the mistakes with? Also, if you can think of any other mistakes that you commonly make or that you hear other speakers make, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. Remember, I release new videos every Tuesday and every Friday to take your English to the next level. Can't wait to hang out with you again. This has been super fun. Remember that if you have enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my videos so that you don't miss a single English video. Alright guys, thank you so much. This is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.